Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the whole for the leg. I'm going to play this quick video, and I'm going to get right into it.
President Trump wants more nuclear testing done, but on Sunday, his energy secretary clarified it won't involve these giant explosions and mushroom clouds. Reporter Ryan Schmelz has the latest from Washington, D.C.
And these will be non-nuclear explosions.
The White House is clarifying President Trump's push to restart nuclear testing after a 30-year pause. The president said several times last week he wants the Pentagon to begin testing America's nuclear arsenal. But on Sunday, his Energy Secretary Chris Wright said those tests won't involve mushroom clouds or fallout, but rather what he called non-critical explosions meant to test the systems involved.
With our science and our computation power, we can simulate incredibly accurately exactly what will happen in a nuclear explosion.
It's still not clear how this new testing will be different from the military's routine assessment of America's nuclear delivery systems, like missiles and submarines. But the president told 60 Minutes on Sunday that it's a response to increased nuclear activity from Russia, including nuclear-powered missiles and torpedoes.
The reason I'm saying testing is because Russia announced that they were going to be doing a test. If you notice, North Korea is testing constantly. Other countries are testing. We're the only country that doesn't test.
President Trump also claiming China and Russia are conducting secret nuclear tests, which both countries deny. Russia responding by threatening its own detonations, with China urging the U.S. to abide by the nuclear test ban treaty.
Flexing military muscles and stirring up confrontation are detrimental to regional peace and stability.
North Korea is the only country that has detonated a nuclear weapon in the 21st century. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
All right, so as we just heard, right, they trying to start testing nukes. Trump said that everyone else was doing it, yada yada yada. You know, we got to do it too. It's coming from the same man who was saying, "Oh, there won't be a World War III if we're smart." Right? The same guy saying he brought peace to the Middle East. Same guy saying he's bringing peace to his country. Right? We see how that's going. All the federal agents and shit running around. I don't know how that's bringing peace. It's just causing more division, more chaos. But yeah, the same guy saying he's bringing all this peace, same guy saying there's not going to be no World War III. Now they're testing nukes. You know, that's like, it's because they know what's coming. You don't just test nukes for no reason, bro. And even if, let's say, you know, Trump say, okay, there's not going to be a World War III, right? We're just testing the nukes. We don't plan on using them, anything like that. Even if America doesn't, right? All these other countries do. You know, Russia, China, they for sure as hell do, because they want the top spot. And in order to get the top spot, the person currently in the top spot has to go down. But jokes on them. You know, the person sitting at the throne next already has the kingdom, right? We're just waiting for it to be established as Yahweh Shai. You know, and the rest of, you know, Israel through him. You know, it's like studying for a test. You don't study for a test that you never intend on taking, right? You don't test these nukes that you never intend on using, bro. You know, and as Trump said, right? Everyone else is doing it, and why is that? Because they plan on using them. The Lord plans on using them. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. We start here at verse 1. It says, "The day of the Lord, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you." Right? The brethren, they don't have a need. Why? Because they're the ones being diligent, being watchful, right? Observing the times diligently. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then the sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right, and that's the point. Trump was the main one pushing that word peace, you know. And now we out here testing nukes. Everyone's doing it. As you said, there's not going to be a World War III though, but the whole world is testing their nukes out, you know, just for fun. Nah, man. Because that sudden destruction, which for us is not going to be sudden, right? The brethren spoken about in the first, verse, ultimately being the Lord's elect. Those watching, it's not going to be sudden. We're waiting on it, right? We might not know the day nor the hour, but we know it's coming, and we're preparing ourselves for it. But the rest of the world, yeah, it's going to be sudden because they aren't watching. But the point is that it's coming and it's going to happen, you know. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Exactly. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of the darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. So putting on that the breastplate of faith and love. Faith on Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai. Love, on Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai. Ultimately, right, in that hope of salvation through who? Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai. But again, right, the Trump stated everyone was doing it, right? We're just basically we're just following the trend. Everyone's doing it because they're going to be used whether they like it or not, whether Trump likes it or not, whether America likes it or not, because it's prophecy, and we're going to get that. But first, it's Psalm chapter 137. We can start here at verse 7. This is Psalm chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Awashai, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Right? Because when you had, Jerusalem being ransacked, being destroyed, the Edomites, not only were they praising raise it, right? Meaning destroy it ultimately. They were helping. And Edom being the so-called white man, right? But continuing, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. So here we have Edom directly linked with being called the daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, in which, spiritually, Edom is, or Esau is multiple things. They're spiritually Assyrians, spiritually Egyptians, spiritually Sodom, or really speaking on America, right? The capital of Edom today. But O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Right? So Esau is gonna get paid back for all that they've done. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. We start here at verse 9. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon. And again, this is spiritual, right? This is speaking on modern Babylon, which is America. I will raise and cause the capital of Esau today. I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Right? And arrows going into what? Their missiles. Their nukes. And none shall return in vain, because when they launch these nukes, it's not them launching them per se, but the Lord putting the spirit on them to launch here at America, right? As we're going to read verse 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord, because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced. O ye destroyers of mine heritage. Right? Is that not, as we just read in Psalms, because you were glad, because you rejoiced? Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, raise it. Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. So it's vengeance, man. Recompense. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and below as bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Right? Looking into this word hindermost. Rayath. After part, end, in, issue, event, latter time, prophetic for future time, posterity, last, hindermost. In, latter, last, posterity, reward, hindermost, miscellaneous, the last or in, hence the future, also prosperity, end, hinder, most, length, prosperity, remnant, residue, reward. So your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Right? The hindermost of the nations, because this Esau's nation now, right? The revival of Rome, this is the last ruling heathen nation. Right? Once this goes down, Yahweh Shai is taking over. Right? Yahweh Bashem Shai. Israel is ruling forever and ever and ever and ever, and continues. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited. Right? And that's a key word right there. Inhabited. It shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. So this is speaking about Babylon and the destruction that the Lord would bring upon it, causing it to not be inhabited. This didn't happen to Neo-Babylon back then, right? That was still inhabited after, they were taken down by the Medo-Persians, or the Persians, or the Achaemenid Empire. This is speaking on America, Babylon the Great. Today, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. So basically, all you other nations, right, that have these nuclear capabilities, have these warheads, have these missiles, don't spare them. Shoot them at her, right? And the Lord's going to put the spirit on them to do so. For she hath sinned against the Lord Yahweh. Shout against her round about, she hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is vengeance of the Lord Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done, do unto her. Again, as she hath done, do unto her. Right? Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. You do dirt, you get dirt. You reap what you sow. Right, that was verse 15. So shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it's the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done unto her. Right? And that's why, as Trump said, everyone's doing it. Right? Everyone's testing their nukes. Knocking the dust off, seeing if they still work. Because sooner or later, they finna be put to work, put to use. Now from here, let's go to Revelation chapter 17. Start down here at verse 15. It's Revelation chapter 17 verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right, referring to the first verse, the doom of Babylon. Again, Babylon being spiritually America. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, that whore being America. Now again, jumping down to 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. You know, so America sits basically at the top. The you know, this is their kingdom, their rulership, Esau's rulership. America being that head, the face, right, the capital. Also, you know, what is America referred to as? The melting pot, right? Because it's full of all types of people, full of all types of peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. You know, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right, the 10 horns going into the EU, you know, upon the beast being NATO, these shall hate the whore. Again, the whore being America, and shall make her desolate and naked. So, ultimately, even America's allies are going to launch their missiles on this place, because that's the spirit that the Lord's going to put on them. And truth be told, America's allies already dislike America. Why? Because of pride. You know, scriptures say, it's Daniel chapter 7 verse 20, right? And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, because that other which came up was you know, America, before whom 3 fell, the 3 being the Great Britain, the French, and Spain, the Spanish, right? Those 3 wars. Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, going into their pride, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Right? Look was more stout than his fellows. Again, going into they're belittling their confederates. You know, they're in Jeremiah 50, right, they were referred to as the hammer of the earth. So let me just search it up. I don't know which, you know, specific scripture that is. Right? How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder, broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right? They're referred to as the hammer of the earth. They're the bully of the earth, even against their allies. You know, so his look was more stout than his fellows. He, you know, you can imagine, just imagine a group of people, and you got the one guy all bigged up, you know, looking down on everyone, even though they're all one team. That's how America is. So going back to Revelation, right, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So even their allies dislike her, man. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Again, going back to Jeremiah 50. Verse 29, call together, Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 29, call together the archers against Babylon. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. So all ye that bend the bow. The Lord didn't say, okay, only Russia, only China, or only, you know, Gog, only Moab. Nah, all ye that bend the bow. All these other nations out here testing their nukes, testing their missiles, testing their armory. Where you think it's going? Call together the archers against Babylon, against America. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Whoo! Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done. Do unto her, for she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh Bashem Awashai, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud. Again, as we read in Daniel 7 and 20. You know, that's how you know it's speaking of Esau, the so-called white man, bro. Especially the ones over here in America, man. They're the most proudest ever. Especially, you know, these higher ups, right? Even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. The most proud. And the most proud shall, Slakia, behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. Going into what? When those missiles hit America, as well as when you have the Lord return with his angels, they're also going to be firing their missiles. I mean, not missiles, like their lasers from their chariots hitting America, man. This shit's finna America. What's the religion of America, Christianity. They always talking about a hell, a place where you burn for eternity. Well, they finna finally, visit that, even though that's not a real place, but they got what they wished for, right? This shit's finna burn for a very long time, and it's not gonna be pleasant. So, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. This did not happen to Neo-Babylon, because it's happening in our time. Right? So that's basically the same thing as we read. Here in verse 16. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Again, going into the nukes and the lasers, man. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. Right? So even though they hate the whore, why are they still, in cahoots with America, still, give their kingdom unto the beast? Why are they still a part of NATO? Why are they still a part of, these agreements, these treaties? It's because they're fulfilling the will of the Lord. When it's time for them to turn on America and launch their missiles, then it'll be time. But right now isn't the time. And I go to show you that the Lord is in control of everything, man. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, right? So this whore, this woman, which we saw, which John the Revelator, Salakia, saw, is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now, if you were being real with yourself, right? If anyone were to be real with themselves and say, what city is this? Right? What place is this? Let's look into this word city, actually. It's in the Greek. It says polis, a city, one's native city, the city in which one lives, the heavenly Jerusalem, the inhabitants of a city. Probably from the same man's, or perhaps from a town, probably with walls, a greater or less size, in which America is a city, right? I don't want to hear anyone say, well, it's not a city, it's too large, it's a country. No, a city is anywhere with people in it, right? Any place that has its people, any place that has citizens, they're American citizens, just one big city. Now again, right? If you were to be real with yourself and say, what place would this be? What city, what nation would this be? You would have to say America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. America is in that number one spot right now. Russia knows it. China knows it. Iran knows it. All of these other nations know it, and they want that spot, but it's not for them. Right? Because when that spot gets taken, guess who it's coming to? It's 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, letting us know that Esau Edom will be in power when his world comes down. Letting you know that Esau Edom is in power right now, right? And their capital is America. That great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, right? Israel is the beginning of it that followeth. Starting with our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. But going back, you know, that woman, that great city is America, man. It reigneth over the kings of the earth. And we can actually search it up. Let's see what Google says. Let's see what they say. What is the greatest country in the world? There is no AI overview. There is no single greatest country in the world, as the definition of greatness is subjective and depends on the criteria one prioritizes. Every country has its unique strengths and weaknesses across various metrics, blah blah blah. Quality of life, and we know it's not America. Economic and military power. Economic and military power. Those two, if you, come on now, if you got those two under your belt, you rule everything. Some define greatness by a nation's global influence. Exactly. Economic clout and military strength. The United States is widely recognized as the world's most dominant economic and military power, and ranks highly in sub-rankings for power and agility, as well as entrepreneurship and cultural influence. So it's telling you right there, man, it's the US, it's America. The world's most dominant economic and military power, man. In which, yeah, they're losing that dominance, but they haven't lost it yet. Because the ones who's going to completely take it away from him is Yahweh Shai. Right? The Lord, when he comes back to judge. Right? Scriptures speak about those arrows, those missiles being the weapons of his indignation. Right, it's Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 25. The Lord Yahweh B'Shem Abishai hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for this is the work of the Lord Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Right, the weapons of his indignation. Who did the Lord, what group of people did the Lord say he would have that indignation on forever? Esau Edom. You know, and he's going to use these weapons to take down their kingdom. So we could close it out on that. The book of Malachi, chapter 1, I think it's verse 4. We start at verse 1, actually. Malachi chapter 1, verse 1. The Most High's love for Jacob, the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, because that's all they know. Wickedness is the wicked. You know, that's why they're known as the wicked. It's synonymous with Esau, Edom, Idumea. The people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. You know, and these are these missiles, right, that everyone's testing. This nuclear power that everyone's testing is the weapons of the Lord's indignation. To finally bring this world down, right? World going into Aeon. You know, this age, the rulership of the heathen, ultimately. I think I'm gonna close it off there. You know, with that being said, once more, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem Rakha Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You know, Lord willing, this video was edifying, informative in some way, shape, or form. And shalom to the whole elect.